name is Angel Flores. Today I'm going to show you some toolkit that I created for logging, but basically for JavaScript. This is similar to like we have for Oracle PL/SQL logger, but in this case, is as the name says, for JavaScript. One thing that I noticed, or the problem that I found, is when we create applications using JavaScript, like this board, I'm using a little JavaScript because it's mostly with JavaScript for this functionality. The logger or the console log could be like a mess when you have too many outputs, right? So the first thing to this tool do is you can disable the console logs as you desire. For example, if I put something like warning and I try to make some changes like this, it usually will be logged with the information, but now because it's warning, it just shows the warning or error. Let me change to information to go back and I will show you how it's. If I put information, it will also display information logs. You see, now it's displaying information logs, even I do the same action. And in the same way, I can turn off all the logs, so that means anything is logged. You see, now the console is clean. So that's nice for tracking or making some debug, but it's also useful for testing environments and production when you don't want to expose all the logs or all the console logs that you have. One additional thing and important for this for production is when you have errors or even when you have information, you can say, I want this log or this console log to save into the database. So for that, we are using the current existing logger. So that it's easy, like I will show you in my current code how I put this. For example, that is in my file. Well, there is something additional that I mentioned, but it's the module. It's in the module Kanban. So I navigate to the Kanban module and we try to find that error. For example, it's here. File to move the ticket. It has the option send to server true. So it will send to the server that log. But there are an additional option where you can use logger dot server login. Can we find the main example? For example, this one, log server. So in the same way, you can define some log and that will be sent to the server. In this second parameter is the module. So if I query my database, you see I previously have the log for the error and from the Kanban. You can pass some extra parameters like this. And let me try to save this log server. So if we get query again the logger log, you see how I log that JavaScript log. You see, this is useful because in production you don't have chance to go to the page and see what's happening, no? So this is one of the main reasons that this tool is created. You will find that in my profile. The code is basically two files, the logger and logger config. Logger config you can define, as I mentioned, the default level that you want to have. If you want to enable the server side, you can define the name of your process on your server side. And even you can define different configurations according to your environment. You can define the colors. Maybe you notice that in the console there are some logs, colors when you put information, error or warning. Let me show you the warning like this. Oh, the configuration is turned off. That's the reason it's not logging. Let me put it back like information. If I put warning, you see, now it's displaying as a warning. So this is kind of nice to have that. Yeah, that's the only two files that you need to have. Just configure the config, and then you need to import in your application. In this case, I'm importing in my workspace application because I want to use for all the applications that I have. You see, I have the logger and the log config. One additional thing that I didn't mention, it's about the module. You see, this is easy to track because I know where this error comes. It comes from the model Kanban, and this error, for example, comes from the Kanban business, no? In the same way, some of them comes for Kanban business and some of them for Kanban. So you know which file you need to check and see what happened. So to create that, you simply need to define your blogger at the beginning. For example, in the repo, I am adding some example for the payment. So at the beginning, once you create the module, you create the logger variable with the proper namespace. This example is the same as the model. Ideally, that's the good reason to have the same as the model and the file because that's easy for track. And then you can just simply use logger.log with your something want to log. The second parameter is some additional extra information that you want to log. One additional feature that you have is some time start and time stop. Time start, it will start some timer, and when you put time stop, it will show you how many seconds pass between these two options, you see? So this is also nice to have when you want to trace some load information that's happening. So is that you can see more information about this on my blog. You have all the plenty code here. You have some examples also in this file. If you run index in your page, you can see that examples. You can view the code, and there you see some how to call directly the application, or maybe it's with your model, you can use that. So that's that. Thank you for your time. See you next time.